So these potatoes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to thinly slice these potatoes. I am going to bake them up crispy in the oven, and then we're going to layer the striped bass on top of it, and we're going to broil the striped bass on top of the potatoes. So I'm going to thinly slice these potatoes up, make them nice and thin. The key here really is to have a very sharp knife. You have a nice sharp knife, you can make these potatoes nice and thin. And then soaking this in the water, just like you want the potatoes. And soak that up in that water. And again, you want to have them a good, like an eighth of an inch thick. So I'm cooking the onions with some olive oil and some butter on a medium heat until the onions become translucent. And once those onions get translucent, I end up putting a half of stick of butter mixed in with the onions and the garlic. I'm mixing in a half a cup of mayonnaise and just mixing all that together. The mayonnaise with the onions and the butter. A quarter cup of flour. And mixing all that really well together. And once that's mixed together, I put in some jalapeno Himalayan sea salt. Some Italian blend seasoning. And a little bit of crushed red pepper to add a little bit of a spice to that. Mix all that in nice. And once that's all together, I take my potatoes and I mix it into that mixture. Coat the potatoes nice with all that onion and garlic mix. Try to get as much coated as possible. And again, this is going to be a one-pan dish. Everything is going to be cooked basically in this one pan. So again, you want to get everything, all these potatoes, coated in this mixture of garlic, onions, butter, mayo. And again, top this off with some seasoning, a little bit of crushed red pepper. A little bit of the Italian seasoning. And some of the Himalayan jalapeno salt. And that's going to go into the oven. So this is the hybrid striped bass that I caught yesterday. A hybrid striped bass is a cross between a white bass and a striped bass. It's about 7 pounds, caught in the Spruce Run Reservoir, and we are going to do a one-pan meal with this today. So the meal I'm going to do, like I said, is a one-pan meal, and I am actually going to leave the skin on the fillet for this particular dish. So the potatoes have been in the oven for about 35 minutes. I went from the 425-degree temperature, cooked it at that for like 10 minutes, and then I dropped it down to 350 degrees in the temperature. So now we're gonna prepare the fish so we can get that in that pan and then bake and broil this fish. So for the fish, it's gonna be straight and simple. It's gonna be Old Bay seasoning. So I'm gonna season this fish up with Old Bay. And that is really about it. I'm gonna get the Old Bay on the side without the skin. And get a nice generous amount of Old Bay on there. Then I'm gonna flip it over and give a light Old Bay touch to the top. Not a lot of Old Bay on the top, but just a little bit on the top. And that's it. Now it's ready to go in that pan. So I just pulled those potatoes out of the oven so I can set my fish on top. And as you can see, the potatoes are looking nice and good. Sizzling in there. And now I am just going to place the fish on top of that. So I just placed the fish in the pan, skin side up. I put some lemons on there, and I'm gonna roast some tomatoes along with it. And back into the oven at 350 degrees. And here you have the Dreaded Fisherman's baked striped bass. It's a one-pan meal. Again, we did some shoestring type scalloped potatoes, some roasted tomatoes, and a freshly caught hybrid striped bass. Hope you try this. And again, thanks. And please subscribe to the Dreaded Fisherman. Oh, look at that tender